Well, I think it's an important moment for cities. It's a good moment, a unique moment, I think, in the history of the world. In some ways, we need to go back and remember that really urbanization was the phenomenon that led to a lot of cultural advancement, both in terms of knowledge and the arts, but also in terms of technological advancement. We've been through a period where national governments have ascended to be the main unit of governance in the world. But I think now we need to look to cities to be the leaders and the people really advancing change. And there's no more critical change right now that needs to be addressed than climate change and reducing our carbon footprint globally. And as many of us know, cities are leading the way in those kinds of solutions. But I think going beyond just the superficial, the moment calls for us to think differently about cities and really kind of break down all the constituent parts of what it means to be an urban environment and put them back together again in a new way. And for me, a couple of the guiding principles in doing that work are health. What does it mean to have a healthy population, both physically and emotionally, spiritually? And what does it mean to have an earth that can be sustained, the biosystems that can be sustained? We're way past the notion that cities are where the hardscape is and where all the people are, and nature is outside the city, and that will be good enough. We know that we have to have a very different conception of what it is to be an urban dweller now. And so the notion of sustainability, health, and I think long-term economic productivity go to reconceiving the city as a place that has living systems in it, has plenty of green, has social gathering spaces, mixes up the uses that we often separate into sort of monofunctional districts, an office district, a residential district, an entertainment district, and begin to really break the scale of those down and mix them up all together. And I think some of the technological advances are going to be helping us in that regard, whether it has to do with the accessibility to all things via the internet, whether it has to do with potentially non-fuel-based autonomous vehicles that can do the short pieces, investment in newer transport technologies. These kinds of things, I think, will enable a new kind of city making than we've been able to have in the past. And as we invent new solutions for deriving energy from clean sources, and in fact just reducing the demand for energy in all of our buildings and so forth, and in our transport system, even in our manufacturing systems. I think all those things will be building one upon the other, and we'll see a big acceleration from what we've seen before, and the costs of those improvements will come down. The unit costs will come down. But it does mean being open and rethinking the way we live and work. And a lot of that is just asking ourselves, how do we want to live and work? And how much do we care about the planet and the survivability of our culture for 2, 3, 4 more generations to come? Because I think there's no question there is a threat to the next generation or two from climate change. Well, Vancouver has, I think, done a fairly remarkable job for a city of its size to really prioritize reducing the carbon footprint of the city. And it's a moderately sized city, about 650,000 people, roughly 2.5 million in the metro area. And It inherited a spectacular physical setting, mountain, sea, and just a dramatic landscape. And also hemmed in by mountains and by an agricultural land preserve. So space is scarce, and so Vancouver has had to build in and not out, build up. And along the way, turned its environmental ethos into aspects of city building that have proven to be quite dramatic in terms of environmental benefits. And so it likes to call us the greenest city. Well, I think we have tried to borrow lessons from European cities and others around everything from district energy to passive house design, robust electrical transport system, banning certain materials and products, those kinds of things. So tried to put as many of those best practices together as we can, and use the city organization as a corporate entity first to try out all of these practices on ourselves, and then ultimately encourage and then require those of the community and the private sector.